Who knew that was here? I was gonna like, look what you started, Ina.
Um, Interesting you bring up Ellis Island. It's surrounded by water, and the dream last night was a tsunami. I was
Okay.
in the buildings that are by the water by Coney Island, and I was on the top floors, and I was so worried. I was so worried. I was like, the
Mhm.
tsunami is coming. I could feel it like building up. I could feel it like the waves getting bigger because the buildings are all along the water. And my husband and I, the children and moms were upstairs, and I just kept preparing for the tsunami. I kept preparing for the disaster and just bringing stuff in, like looking out at the windows and the waves. I could see them out in the water. And I kept saying to myself, like, the waves are not as big, like, I'm panicking too much. And then the waves got big enough where the water was coming, but I saw people running. And I was like looking at the people down below me.
Mhm.
And these people were running and running, but they were safe. So when I saw the people down safe, I was like, okay, this building is going to be safe. And I
Very
woke up, I was like, this is a very, and I wasn't sure, because there's some fires happening in New York. There are
good.
people getting evacuated from like the Long Island area. So it was like maybe I'm processing the the natural disaster that's going on close by, but the tsunami waves were just like strong.
Okay, so let's, it's not an accident that, okay, so you just happen to mention dreams. Now I'm talking about everyone starting a dream, and I start getting these downloads of, okay, we are pulling people. And then all of a sudden, I was like, I'm seeing Ellis Island, but I feel more like it's a representation. Yes, I feel like something's going to happen in New York. And when I say Ellis Island, you're like, oh, what's funny you mentioned water. That's what my dream was about. So then let's sit with, and I want you to follow the energy of your dream. Do you feel like the tsunami was an actual tsunami, or was it your representation of a disaster coming?
It felt more of a disaster. It felt more of
It
like,
does.
you know, because that feeling when you're very, very worried, when you're super
Yes.
duper worried, and
Yes.
there's nothing you can really do about the worry.
Like that helpless feeling of it's coming and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Okay, so now we're on the same, we're getting the same message, except we're just getting it differently. And I know you've been in some of my classes and you've heard me talk about that. Okay, so to me, Um, Ellis Island represents freedom and people coming to this country and the dreams that people can build when they're here. Okay. Now, to you, you were seeing this water coming, and you could feel that it wasn't really water. You weren't actually, you're not actually seeing a tsunami. You're seeing this wave of disaster, right? Okay. So now
Yeah,
let's
like big crushing waves.
Okay, so lean into this feeling of this wave of disaster coming here. Okay. Do you feel like this wave of disaster is coming just to New York, or do you feel like it's going to be hitting pockets of the United States?
I'm drawing a blank. All I could feel is that I was with my husband.
Very
Like
good.
I was with my husband, I was with my family.
Okay, so now what does your husband and family represent to you? Like what feeling when you tap in, I know what they represent, but when you tap into, okay, there's this disaster coming and I can't really see anything except I'm with my family and my husband. What does that represent to you?
That was safety. And you know what else? My grandmother's energy was there.
Like, and she's a protective type energy to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then that's telling you that You're going to be okay. Like there's going to be a lot of disaster coming, but then that's a personal message for you that you and yours are going to be okay. Now, when you tap into your family and your kids and this feeling of safety, are you in the United States or are you in a different country?
We were in the United States. The
Okay.
dream was in English.
Okay. So you are safe and you stay in the United States.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Now, I want you to pull back from that energy a little bit because we're in it, like we're in this energy. So we want to pull back so we can get kind of an overview of the energy. And sometimes how I do that is to physically, you can see me, I will move away from this flow because I can feel the energy flowing. I want to see it big. I want to see the big representation of this energy. And so now I'm putting this map of the United States in. Now, I am picturing your tsunami because I'm in that energy now. And so I know the tsunami isn't actually water, but that tsunami represents disaster coming. So when you pull away from the United States, you picture the tsunami going across the United States. Where do you see it heading as it goes across the United States?
You know what's interesting? So it was hitting against the glass. You know, the waves were crushing against the glass. And I was looking at them through the glass. It was as if it was protected, like the shoreline was protected. It was not penetrating. So
Very good. Okay. So now what you're getting is you feel like that the United States itself will be protected, but there's going to be something coming at us. Do you feel like this is going to be internal or external?
it felt very external. The
Okay.
ocean was very mad.
I love that terminology. The ocean
You
was
know,
mad.
like
Yeah.
with crazy waves, like, you know, the stormy waves,
Hmm.
but it wasn't like penetrating. Yes, like I saw people running. Yes, I saw some water trickling in, but like the big waves were like
Hmm.
behind the.
Okay, I love that you were getting that. It was that I love that terminology, though. It was very so now you think about that word you just used, that the ocean was mad. Whenever you said that word, it popped to me, like out of all the words you were saying. And so whenever you have a client or anyone really talking to you, pay attention to what words pop because they mean something. Because as you were talking, you can hear I was picking out certain pieces of what you were saying. Now, how was I picking that out? Because certain words were popping to me. So now at this moment, that word mad has popped to me because that's a strange way to describe the ocean. It's very accurate. So I was like, what does this mad mean? The world is becoming angry at the United States. And so that makes sense. If you saw these external mad waves coming at us, the world is becoming very angry at the United States. So now I feel into that energy of, okay, where is this going to go if the world is becoming angry at the United States? Where is this going to go? Are we headed into war? And so I sit with that energy, are we headed into war? Do you feel war coming our way?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
Mm-mm.
I don't, which is unusual because I hadn't really sat with a lot of this energy that we're talking about right now. I honestly would not have been surprised if we had been sitting here talking about this and I heard in my head, yeah, man, World War III is coming. I don't feel war coming our way.
It felt like the energy subsided.
Yes, yes.
Like I do want to say that since you and I have been working together, again, there's shifts that are happening. They're not linear, they're not verbal, they're just like things that I'm able to
Hmm.
uh, feel into. And so when we talked about the intensity of the waves, the ocean being mad,
Hmm.
that was one energy. And when you asked if the war is coming, the level of intensity subsided, and that's what made
Absolutely.
me say no. So a lot of it is non-verbal, but I could see like where you're guiding me with the learning.
Hmm.
It's very interesting. I just want to give you feedback. This
Aw.
is a very interesting encounters that we're having.
And that's what I hope for is for people's eyes to be open and to just be able to. And then, even if you had said, if earlier, if you had said, yeah, I don't see my family being safe, then I would have asked you, well, can that energy be changed? Let's find a pathway to where you see that you can take steps to be safe, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so now we are at the point where we don't feel and I do find that ironic, that we don't feel World War III coming because honestly, in the state of the world right now, I would not have been surprised at all.
Well, there are bigger collectives outside of the presidents, outside of the countries. Like there are entities watching us, and
There is, yeah.
when Putin was invading Ukraine, like he had a flick on the tip of his nose saying, like, dude, like, don't destroy the country. Or like when North Korea acts out, like, the presidents have access to these collective,
They do. But, I
you
always
know,
talk about, and we talked about it when we did your soul plan about taking energies to a higher octave. It's like, are these people that have access to these magnificent talents and energies, are they going to take them to the higher octave or are they going to get drugged down? Now, we're going to take this a little bit further. Are you okay staying on this pathway for a little bit longer?
yeah, for sure.
Okay. So now we're going to let the rest of the world go now because we have seen, yes, they're angry at us. Yes, there might be some things coming our way, but we don't quite feel war. Do I see some angry reactions? Do I see some retaliations? I do, but I don't see them as being devastating and the world being taken out. Now, when I tap into that, I honestly see, because I was like, why? Because I asked myself, why, nosy medium. That's how I get the information. Why is World War III not starting? What's stopping it? They're actually, what I'm being shown is I'm being shown the globe, and it's other countries right now that are being very level-headed. It's other countries that are, and it reminds me of just, how it is, like when your kids are arguing or something, and you go in, you kind of pull them apart and you mediate and try to bring the energies down. That's what I see other countries doing right now, is they're bringing the energies down. I do see them turning and looking at the United States and being very worried about what are we doing and where are we going. So I asked, where's the United States going? So I take a pull back and I look within the United States, which I will be honest with you, that's a little bit more difficult for me to do because I have such a heart for the United States. I'm an American. So it's like looking at your own family
Hmm.
because you want to get to a point of neutrality. And if you're living in the United States right now, it's hard to be neutral. So I'm trying to pull myself back from the energies and just look at it in a neutral manner. So now when I step into that energy, what spirit is showing me is before the elections, I was having people ask me who was going to win, which I finally stopped answering people because I kept telling them that Trump was going to win. I wasn't saying I was voting for him. I wasn't saying who I was for, none of that. I was just answering their question. I felt, spirits were showing me Trump was going to win. So people were getting angry. So they're showing me that moment, but they're taking it further is when I would talk about that I felt like Trump was going to win, but there was some subterfuge to his winning. It wasn't just an out and out. He won black and white. I could feel that he was going to win. He was going to take power, but there was they're showing me there's some energies at play down here. They're like sneaky subterfuge. They're actually showing me um, is it the Seven of Wands cards where you have the person kind of sneaking away? They're holding, is that the Seven of Wands? You're holding all the wands sneaking away. So that's just my representation for something sneaky happening. Okay. So now whether that's accurate or not, they're showing me that Trump won kind of in a sneaky manner. There's some subterfuge there. And then they're showing me, I'm following that path. They're showing me him walking down a path, and behind him is complete chaos, like he's leaving chaos behind him. Sometimes chaos is good, right? Sometimes we have to make chaos for things to get better. But as I'm saying, oh, this is interesting. I've never sat with this before to this. So they're showing me, oh gosh, they're showing me Trump as a puppet. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're
Mm-hmm.
showing him as a puppeteer, and they're showing me like a marionette. You know how you have those.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
showing me
Mm-hmm.
him as a puppet, like someone's moving him around. I was like, is this going to end? I hear yes. Is it going to end soon? Huh. I'm hearing it is. Okay. So now I don't know, is what the message I'm giving resonating with you? Because I'm gonna have you tap into the,
You're like on a different, I'm just letting you do.
oh, it's gonna have you help me, Ina.
You are,
I was
I'm
gonna
the,
have you help me, but you it had the message. Okay. So whenever you're helping someone, whenever I was gonna help you, have you help me pick out a timeline. But you kind of have to have the message has to resonate. So if you don't believe diddly squat about what I'm saying,
it's all good. It's all good. It's all
um,
right. I'm still learning
if you
because
don't
I
believe
feel,
diddly squat about it,
no, I'm with you in the conversation. I don't know because, maybe my mind is taking over and like as an
oh,
input,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what I love about this is the ability for you to evaluate that. A lot of
because
people,
my mind is taking over and like it wants to say, oh, what is she talking about? Conspiracy. But then like, I feel you going with the energy. So like I feel that too. So it's all good.
as you're talking, I'm getting goosebumps because that is a freaking phenomenal way. Like this is actually perfection because that is how it feels. No matter how well trained a medium is, it's like you'll want to interject because your ego, your belief system is like, wait a minute. But then you can feel, you're like, oh, but I can't because I can feel that there's actually energies at play here. Let me sit with
Exactly.
this. Let me sit with this. So that's freaking phenomenal. That is one of the best things you can do for yourself is to recognize when your ego, because everyone has it. It's just recognizing it. But now I was going to pick out a timeline. I feel like that, and this is where it gets difficult. I was going to have you help me. Um, when is it going to calm down? So when is the administration, and I'm not saying Trump, I'm not saying him, I'm saying when is the administration going to calm down and kind of level out? Is that going to be this year? I'm getting yes. So then an easy way to pick timelines is not easy. It's never really easy, but I think I probably had you do this before, is you pick a month, a celebration. So let's just, the big one here in the United States is 4th of July. So we're going to pick the 4th of July. We're all celebrating. You pick that party in your head, like whether you have a 4th of July party or not, you make one in your head. And then you kind of look at the United States and say, is it calm yet? Is the United States calm during the 4th of July? I don't feel that it is. It is not. Okay, so then the next big celebration isn't until later. So we're going to make one up. One of my kids' birthdays in September. So we're going to head to September around September 15th. We're going to just picture September 15th on our in our minds. We're going to picture having a birthday party for someone. It can be imaginary. Okay, so we're having this party. We're pulling back and looking at the United States. Is the United States calm around September 15th when we're having this party?
It doesn't feel like it. To me, it feels more like November.
Very good. Okay, so what I was feeling is, and that would make sense if you're feeling more of November, because in September, I wasn't feeling that it was calm, but I was also not feeling that it was as chaotic as it was around the 4th of July. So that means we're headed towards a calm energy. Now we're going to go to October, Halloween. Halloween, do we
Is
see that?
never a peaceful time during Halloween.
So I'm picturing kids out trick-or-treating, having fun. It's United States collective calm at Halloween. I'm getting a little bit. But then you're right. When I picture Thanksgiving in my head,
Yes,
I feel peace.
peace, November. That's what it felt like right away. I just
Yes.
didn't wanna.
No. And that's what it felt like from the beginning. So, but when it's something big, I usually will kind of walk through the energies to make sure the energies are following what I'm feeling. So now I felt like instantly when I was asking you, so let's take a look. When is it going to be calm? I was hearing November. But just to make sure, I wanted to do a check-in along the way to make sure my check-ins were following what I was getting. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So now we know that around November of this year, now we know that the it's going to be calm. What makes us calm? So now I go over to a lot of the United States, how calm we are or peaceful or waves that go across the United States originate in DC, Washington, DC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's
I
where a
don't
lot of
know,
our
but I
that's
don't know. But
that's
yeah, I guess.
that's where a lot of our policies come from.
Ah, policies. Yes, okay.
So, can you have little pockets of states that are acting up and there's, infrastructure issues in different states? Absolutely. But I'm not looking at states right now because I'm looking at the United States as a collective. So, as a collective, a lot of our peace or angst comes from politics that kind of is housed in DC. So then, okay, I was like, we are calm in November, which is really odd because we are in a mess right now in the United States, just a lot of angst. Calm in November. Now I'm going to look at DC. What has happened in DC that has now made us calm? Now, unfortunately, I am not as educated as I should be when it comes to the structure of our government. I will absolutely admit that. I should probably do a little bit more studying on it. My master's is in business and finance, not politics. But anyway, I should be more educated. But anyway, I look over there and I just ask Spirit, show me something, show me what's going on over there. Give me a representation that I can understand of what has happened. I want you to go with me if you can. I want you to look at the United States and just ask your spirit guides to show you what has happened that has changed us. Mm, okay. Did you see anything?
I saw a black fence.
A
Maybe the
black.
fence around the White House. I don't know. I've never been to the DC.
Okay, so I'm not sure, but the second you said I see a black fence, I got a black fence around the White House. Okay, so now whether the fence is black or not, I don't know, honestly, if it's black or not. I can't tell you. But I don't actually, when I'm reading, I don't always see a lot of colors. So I know if I see colors, it means something. You saw this black fence, and the second you said black, Spirit gave me a different symbol for the same energy. They showed me a mourning cloth. They showed me a lady dressed in black with a mourning cloth over her head. Someone has passed,
Interesting.
right?
I
Okay.
would think that the fence is like a protection, but if it's like if you're getting that someone is passing away.
Now, this is where you have to sit with your own energy and what things mean to you. Yes, a fence normally means protection to me, but Instantly, you said black. Do you normally see a lot of colors when you're reading and you're getting visuals?
Just saw like a black fence. Like,
Very good. Okay, so now, and this is also when it's kind of fun when two people are reading and you're bouncing ideas off each other. So then you sit with, and this is hard. I'm telling you, we're in some hard energy right now, Ina, because it's hard in what we're talking about to get egos out of the way because we both love the United States. So, okay. So now, I just know how I read and how things feel to me. I almost don't even want to speak these words out loud.
you can say it. I'm a mom, so I could be very objective and truthful to like
But
what
I
I,
don't, I'm almost don't want to say them out loud because it's one of those things that's so horrific that
hmm,
you're like, okay, when it's one of those things where you're like, am I speaking this into existence? Because I don't want to do that. But I'm not. I'm just reading the energy. But it's just I'm when they took this veil, Spirit showed me taking this veil and putting this black veil over the United States, which our president, they're showing me our president is going to pass.
it's possible.
Which, whether you are a supporter of our president or not, is not an issue. The issue is it makes me sad to think that someone's going to pass like that. You know what I mean? In the prime,
Hmm.
I wouldn't say I don't know. I was about to say in the prime of his life. I understand he's an older gentleman, but still. Wow. Okay, so then I sit with that. When I am triggered for a moment, which I was definitely triggered for a moment, I do not like to see people like that pass, like, leadership and all of that. Whether I'm a supporter or his of his or not is not the issue. I do not like it. Like
Hmm.
when people come out and, even if you're against him, you should never wish death on anyone, whether you support them or not. Okay, so now I move past kind of that energy because now I want to know, was it natural causes or did someone make it happen?
I felt like it was an assassination. I wrote it down. I
Really?
wasn't yeah, I wrote it down.
Okay, very good. Now I will tell you that's pretty cool because I was getting natural causes. But I will tell you, when I got natural causes, there is something that happens to me whenever I'm reading, and it's just because I know it because I've read for so many years now. Someone will step up and I will see they passed, and I will know that it was deemed natural causes, but then they make my solar plexus kind of twist if it really wasn't natural causes. Like if it was deemed natural causes, but it really wasn't. And that's what just happened. So I think it's funny that you said an assassination because as I was sitting with, oh, I'm hearing natural causes, my solar plexus went off like it normally does whenever spirit is showing me, mm, okay. Next in line for presidency is our vice president, who is Vance, right? Okay, so then I was like, okay, so let me move past that energy. Let's move to Vance taking over. And I picture that happening. So this is where I check into energy, right? So this is some crazy stuff we're talking about here. The president passing, how that happens. Okay, so if he passes, then our vice president, Vance, is going to take over. Do I see him taking over? Actually, I do. Spirit showed me him standing there waving and smiling. He is not smiling because the president has passed. That's just Spirit's representation of showing me he's taking over. This is some crazy stuff we've gotten into. Looking at you like, I don't
I don't know. That wasn't the plan for today, but hey, we rolled with
know.
the
That
energy.
was not, that was, I had, look at my papers here. I had a completely different plan for you today.
I know, you told me, but that's fine. It's okay.